Yo, what's cracking everyone? Ericship 111 here. So just the other day, Turn 10 finally revealed more information and gameplay about the highly anticipated new Forza Motorsport at the Xbox Developers Direct livestream. Now initially, I wanted to make a quick reaction video, but to be honest, doing a quick reaction, there won't be a lot of critical analysis going on, and as someone who is quite easily persuaded, I know I would have gotten pulled into everything Turn 10 was saying. So instead, I decided to take a few days and really analyze everything that was said, all the information that was revealed, and why this showcase was disappointing, especially coming from a true Forza fan. So what do we know thus far? Okay, we know that there will be over 500 cars at launch, over 100 of them will be new to motorsport. Keyword, motorsport. I think some people have been confused and said new to Forza, which isn't the case. So this means whichever cars Turn 10 decides to bring in from the Horizon series, any of those cars included in the roster will be considered new to motorsport. Now I'm not saying all the 100 new to motorsport cars will be taken directly from Horizon 4 or Horizon 5, but just keep in mind that there is a distinction between vehicles that are new to Forza and new to motorsport. Then of course, the tracks, one of the most important ingredients when it comes to a Forza Motorsport game. So there will be a total of 20 different environments to race on, including Spa, Laguna Seca, Maple Valley, Silverstone and Suzuka, and two new ones known as Hakone and Kyalami. That's pretty much the important information we know about the new Forza Motorsport. Everything else in Turn 10's presentation were, honestly for me, just a bunch of fancy words thrown around to convince morons like myself to go, wow, that's incredible. But throughout my time after watching so many early reveals from Forza, I've become a lot smarter, and I think the true diehard Forza fans are too. Therefore, we can see through a lot of the things that were presented. For example, this phrase, built from the ground up. I have heard this thrown around so many times, whether it's in the latest Motorsport presentation, Forza Motorsport 7 for the PC, or even dating back to Forza Motorsport 5 when the series transitioned from the Xbox 360 to the Xbox One. This phrase has been used so much that for me at least, it means nothing. Now keep in mind that these are just my opinions coming from a diehard Forza fan, so feel free to agree or disagree with whatever I'm saying down in the comment section below. But if we wind the clock back to 2013 when Forza Motorsport 5 was first revealed, the exact same thing was said. Forza Motorsport 5 is built from the ground up for the next generation consoles. Was it entirely built from the ground up? That's debatable, as we know certain cars from that game were just retextured car models from the earlier titles that are still being used even in Forza Horizon 5 today. The thing is, back in 2013, visuals were still becoming more and more realistic, and the graphical improvements from Motorsport 4 to Motorsport 5 were so incredible that yes, you could highlight the graphics as one reason as to why this is a true next-gen title, which of course they did. Same with Gran Turismo 2 to Gran Turismo 3, the visual upgrades from those two titles were so monumental that despite the less amount of cars and tracks in GT3, the graphics were such an improvement that the lack of content in other aspects could be forgiven. But in 2023, times have changed. We're entering an era where graphics are almost as realistic as it gets. You can't get away with using old stuff and retexturing them anymore, as that is how good graphics are. We can spot them. It's not like it was 10 to 20 years ago. Visual fidelity is so photorealistic that it can only improve in increments. Therefore, in my opinion, graphics or how a game visually looks should no longer be a focal point for any presentation anymore, because you give any AAA or even indie game developers to build a game solely focused on how it looks, they will be able to achieve that realism, and for Turn 10 to still dedicate time about the technology behind the visuals, and what's that word I heard? Spectrophotometer, and how it gives each paint coating a more realistic light response across different surfaces. this information, it just doesn't resonate to me. I'm not going to be thinking about all of that information and looking at the light reflections while I'm driving at 100 miles per hour looking at my next braking point. And speaking of built from the ground up, sorry if I was diverting a little bit before, when Turn 10 talked about the 800 unique upgrades and custom modifications you can apply to your car, and proceeded to show a Mazda Miata with not just an outdated aftermarket rear bumper that's been in the franchise for who knows how long, but that ugly Forza Aero was still being showcased too. I was thinking, after 6 years, that's the clip you tease us with when it comes to customizations. What that shows me is that 1, this game isn't completely built from the ground up like they said it was, and 2, they don't listen to the community, even though they did allude to listening to the community's feedback. And I don't want to make any excuses for them at this moment. Some people have said maybe this is a PR stunt to get us talking. I disagree. What this shows is their lack of care towards the players that are going to play and stay playing this game for a long time. It may trick those who have never played this series before, but for us Forza players, this was very disappointing to see, and can easily be projected onto other important elements of the game where our voices just aren't heard at all. There's also other things that bothered me as well, like spending a third of the presentation on audio, how they are using the power of the new Xbox Series consoles with Windows Sonic and Dolby Atmos to deliver new level of sonic depth and authenticity to the players. There were more talks about the acoustic space creating a realistic environmental sound, and this just gave me complete flashbacks of Forza Horizon 5 before it was launched. All this talk about using the technology to create amazing atmospheric sound, but the most important thing is, how did the cars sound? How were they recorded? There were no raw car audio being showcased, but what we do know is that the developers are using quote unquote latest technology to bring all their archive of car audio sounds that they have gathered over the past 20 years up to the highest fidelity. That's it. Turn 10 didn't really go into specifics with the car sounds. I mean, where are the cool buzzwords for the car audio? But don't worry, with the environment, I'm hearing words like convoluted reverbs, dynamically adapting, realistic. There's just so many questions that were left unanswered after this presentation. I feel as though the developers are catering for a new audience when realistically they should be presenting information for everyone. We've only heard about this new Forza Motorsport title a handful of times since it was revealed nearly 3 years ago, and this is what they believed was the best way to present their title. I don't know, I thought this was a reboot of the Motorsport series, hence why there is no number 8 attached to the name, why it's taken so long to develop. Granted, yes, they did showcase a few new to Forza and Motorsport cars, which were cool to see. The supposed new AI system that no longer requires hacks or boosts to keep up with the fastest drivers in the world, and also historical layouts of modern day tracks will also be included in the game too. But as a fan, I want to know how the physics really are, actual gameplay of the racing, show me the rubbering in on the track and how it will dynamically affect my race. Will multiplayer be much better than it was in Motorsport 7? How does it feel on a steering wheel? Is it going to have full wheel support? And will the force feedback be very good? Show us things of relevance to racing so we can solidify that this really is a reboot of the series it claims to be and be called a true next-gen racer. I mean, if I was baking a cake for years from the ground up and it's time for me to present it to a baker, and all I talk about is how I came up with the most unique, fabulous and wonderful mixture for the icing on top and how delicious it is, the baker's gonna ask, what about the cake itself? Essentially, what Turn 10 has presented thus far is really the icing on the cake, but the actual cake itself, well, I guess only time will tell. Anyways, I will keep a very close eye on any new developments, and truthfully, I want Turn 10 and this title to succeed. I know previously it was announced for spring 2023, now it's just coming in 2023, that's fine. I just hope that for the last 6 to 7 years or however long this game has taken to develop, that the team over at Turn 10 weren't focusing on the wrong things. Anyways, if you guys did enjoy this video, please make sure to smash the thumbs up button as it really helps me out. And of course, please make sure to click the subscribe button, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Peace.